Okay, this is another video. This video is going to be strictly on the controls of the steel door light cutout machine. Okay, you notice I pulled the head away. The head was connected in the side here via this magnet. It's a nice feature to hold the head when the doors are being unloaded and new doors are being loaded. I'm going to pull it out here so we get it in a better light. Your power light will be on whenever there's power on the machine. You got your start button. The start button is the holding circuit. The holding circuit will not turn on if there's no air on the machine. The machine will also shut down if it loses pressure while it's trying to run. The purpose for this is if the door's not safely clamped, it's not a good idea to continue trying to cut the door, so it shuts the power off whenever you lose air. So we're going to go ahead and turn the power on, or the control circuit on, excuse me. Your control light comes on. It's an indication that you have a good control circuit. To turn your cutter on, obviously on off, you can see that it's on when this is spinning. Purpose of the clear cover. In addition, you can obviously hear it. The latch drill, in certain shops it's kind of loud, radios and whatnot, you can't always hear the fact that the latch drill is on, so we have a separate light for that. So that lets you know that the latch drill is on. Anytime they're on, hit the emergency button, shuts everything off, even though they're still on. If you start it back up with the holding circuit, they will both turn on at the same time. Dust collection is an option. There is an outlet on the side of the electric box in the back where you can connect a vacuum and the operator can turn it on and off from up front here. The next button is your wood selection. This machine has the ability to cut both wood edge and steel edge doors. So if we have it in the wood off section and you come around the back here to where the router is that does the latch mortise, you can move this manually. So if you were to do metal edge doors, you put that motor in place of this blue plate, turn the wood to the off position, and then you can plunge manually and then route back and forth also manually. Because when doing the metal, it's a lot slower process and it needs to have the finesse that a human can put into it, and keeps the cut a lot better. When it's in the on position, when you go and use the latch mortise button, it's going to be fully automated. With that said, we're going to start with the next set of controls. The latch drill. The latch drill is doing the gold motor in the back that does the edge bore into the side of the door. This will not run unless the unit is clamped up. So I'm going to unclamp the unit. That's your template clamp. Going to go ahead and clamp it up. Turn the motor on. I'm going to start it, but then I'm going to stop it and then show you later how to position the door correctly. But that's what starts it, and by hitting E-stop you can return it. Okay. The next one is your cutter up down. The cutter will not go up and down if you do not have it clamped up. So we'll clamp the door with the template clamp, and at this point you'll see the cutter will go down. Not only can you plunge the cutter with the template clamp on, but you can also plunge with the door clamp on. Door clamp is also fully automated. It'll also position the door for you in the process of getting ready to cut a light. So I have a door staged here. The way I would recommend you do it is set your door where it is flush with the 2x4s. Make sure the door is all the way back against the two faces. Your fence here and your fence here. Since we're doing we're going to do a 2 3/4 inch back set. So when we do a 2 3/4 inch back set, it's going to be all the way against the back. When we're doing a 2 3/8 back set, it'll push it out the 3/8 of an inch that we require. And that is done by this selector switch up front here. Okay, so we're getting ready to use the door clamp. We put the door flush with a 2x4, and then we keep a little bit of pressure against the door so it stays up against the fence so we don't lose our back set. And then we go ahead and do door clamp. And then if you pay attention there, that'll come in, push the door, and what it does is it locates the door to the same datum spot every time. That datum spot is relative to the template up above. So it's important that it's done with that procedure, otherwise the distance from the top of the door to the top of your light will not coincide with what you have on your overhead template. We're going to go into that a lot more in another video, but this is just the controls, so I just want to go through that one at a time. So making our way down here, the next one is going to be our cutter guide. What this is the unit here that drops down. It has a 1.5 inch outside dimension, and this is what rides against not only the template follower, the template back here, but also if you had a template on top of the door to cut out certain types of patterns in lights, this rides up against the template. And again, to raise and lower that button there. We went over the back set a minute ago. That's pretty straightforward. If you want a 2 3/8 back set, it's on. 2 3/8 back set off for 2 3/4. Half plunge. Half plunge is if you only want to cut halfway through the door. This is a nice feature when you're doing really hard woods. You can do it in 2 passes. Then the last one is oscillation. Oscillation allows the head to go up and down while you're cutting. I'll go ahead and demonstrate that. So I'm going to turn it on. Turn the cutter head down, and then the cutter head will start to oscillate up and down. Purpose of this again is to keep the cutter so it's not just on one edge of it, but on a wider surface of the cutting edge, and it also helps keep the cutter a little bit cooler. In addition to oscillation, for saving your cutter, you can also move these spacers so you can dictate a different edge that you're cutting through. So you start with all of them in, and then as the cutter starts to wear, you pull one step out, and you should be on a different position on the cutter to lengthen the cut time of that cutter. One more control, and that'll be the end of this video. And over here on the side, you have a button. It's under a guard in case if the door were to come down, it would hit the top and not damage the switch. But what this switch does is it makes all your stops come out. So for instance, if I wanted to do a lock bore and they were all in, I hit my button, I get my lock bore location, get those all back. get up against my edge there. I can hit my template clamp now, and that's where I would do my lock bore. That's it for the controls. I'm going to go over how to set the door up for your deadbolt, your lock bore mortise, and your deadbolt mortise in the next video.